Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to my session this morning. I trust that you are going to enjoy it. And we are going to be talking more on surviving childcare through mindful practice. Please bear with me. We're going to now put off our video and continue with my slides as I take you through my presentation. Okay, so this morning we're going to be going through various issues related to the challenges that we recently held. As you know, I will take you through a few key components that are linked to the survival, both in our personal and in our professional lives. During my presentation, I will be asking you maybe at certain points to answer some questions. You can put through those answers and we will then explore those answers a little bit better in the details. We hopefully will have some time to practice some mindful, practical examples as we close. So where exactly are we now? As we know, we've come through COVID-19, which was a global crisis. We then moved on in KZN and in other parts of the country where we experienced particularly unnecessary rioting and violence, which affected us nationally and became a global crisis for us. And both landed directly into our workspaces and our homes. So despite us not wanting it to be in our faces, we had to experience it as we went along. Okay, and so we understand that this crisis basically comes from change. This change is brought about by stresses in our lives, and we have to be able to cope with those stresses. So some of the contributing factors that affected us, we're going to look at. How did these negative stresses, such as COVID-19 and the rioting, impact on us? Well, particularly in our context, we do know that this stress can lead to various different things affecting us, both positively and negatively. It's normal in our lives, but can be positive and it can be negative. Again, our big concern is when we have negative changes that will impact on us more heavily than the positive changes. Some of the examples are the sudden impact of changes, where examples are your loss of your loved ones, your colleagues, your friends, witnessing violence, loss of your job, or sudden illness. In the past year, we have maybe we witnessed it or we were faced with it ourselves. Or you can be experiencing some kind of gradual changes. For example, poverty, domestic and gender-based violence, substance abuse, and divorce that can impact on us in a very negative way. So how did these negative stresses affect us and impact on us? Particularly in our context, this stress pertained to an external negative experience that became traumatic for all of us. Our internal state was triggered by some sort of external state that we had no control over. And I'm sure that most of you will identify with the following emotions. We experienced fear, which was triggered by a flight or fight response. Psychologically, we were not prepared for it. So those physically and emotionally fit could survive. Others floundered, others gave in, and others had to experience a terrible sense of fear. Another emotion was the anxiety. We were forced into a lockdown that dictated what we could do and when we could do it, not allowing for us to understand when we will even see the end of it. So this unpredictableness and the lack of control led to a great sense of anxiety amongst people. And again, we felt extremely displaced. Many felt that their sense of security and safety was threatened due to such unpredictable circumstances, especially in our workspaces. How did we react? Again, we look at what happened in the world. Most people experienced a sense of denial, disbelief, or shock, which is a normal reaction to any kind of trauma if you think back on 9/11. That experience as well left the entire world shocked. Again, in 1920, we went into COVID-19, which gave us the same experience. We experienced anger, which is a natural tendency to redirect our emotions. Why was the virus not contained? Why was it allowed into our country? Why did the government take so long to respond? We had many questions, okay? Even personal questions. Why did I become positive? Again, we experienced guilt and bargaining. When fear sets in, we seek spiritual answers. Why did this happen? We bargain to keep what is most significant to us. For example, if only my dad got out of hospital, I will make sure we follow the protocols properly. Many people were bargaining and trying to come to some kind of solace during this time, experiencing something beyond them. A sense of depression. Normal research will show that long periods of isolation can lead to depression because we are social beings and it's important for us to have social context. We tend to experience a deep sense of sadness, emptiness, and despair when we are isolated from others. And I'm sure you can identify with this as well as with fellow colleagues, friends, and family around you. A sense of acceptance, finally, where we all had to finally learn to adjust to a new way of living. So what motivated us to continue? Motivation is based on three important factors that I'm going to take you through. The first one is alignment. Alignment is all about ensuring that our daily actions, our personal goals are in agreement with our values, and knowing that our actions serve a greater good. For example, in the essential services sector, our essential workers, like our childcare workers, continue to go out and service children, despite knowing that their lives were put into harm's way. Motivation is also based on envisioning. Okay. Again, what do we understand by envisioning? Envisioning means imagining some future possibilities, allowing us to believe that things will get better. In other words, finding and holding on to hope. Again, I'm sure you can identify with this as we were grappling for something to hold on to and to be hopeful for during these difficult times. The last one related to motivation is resilience. This refers particularly to an ability to recover from or adjust easily to a setback or negative change. It requires that we acknowledge and work through the impact of that experience. And it requires that we deal with the emotions and accept them. So now we are all aware that we have experienced a global crisis, and many would have experienced our own personal trauma in this time. Human nature dictates that we learn to motivate ourselves and keep on going. So what next? How do we cope? Let's look at that. From a medical perspective or medical approach, our doctors would advise us to take care of our diet, to make sure we are exercising and engaging in physical activity, to make sure we have enough sleep, to identify our support systems, and to make sure we're taking care of both our body and our mind. We also had to piggyback on many other things and start learning how to take our vitamins, our supplements, and our tonics to make sure that we are staying safe and healthy. The other alternate, besides only looking at your medical approach, because it cannot go in isolation, has to be followed in conjunction with the practical approach. This includes having time for yourself, practicing meditation and relaxation techniques, spending time with friends and family, spending time on your hobbies, reading and journaling, or any other important hobby that you enjoy, engaging in spirituality, and finding humor in life. Life is not meant to be so serious all the time. So what should I do? We often hear the saying of time heals, and that is true. Give yourself that time. It takes time, both weeks or months, to accept what has happened and to learn to live with it. Do your own research and know the facts. Find out from experts and use trusted resources. It is important to remember that during COVID, I'm sure we all experienced this, where there was a whole lot of information, false information, being passed on our social media. And that creates more stress and fear amongst people. So know our facts. Ask for support because help is always there. Find someone to talk it over with and let go of the emotions. It is cathartic to express one's feelings outwardly. So use your opportunities well. Offer help and inspire others. Be involved with other survivors and share your experiences. Once ready, you may be a wealth of knowledge and emotional support to another who is experiencing the same that you have been through. And it continues to be therapeutic for yourself. Get into a routine and change your routine. Do some normal things with other people. Start with small steps at a time. Get out of your comfort zone. For example, we had to test the waters, try new technology, work from home, adjust to new school routines. We had many things to change in terms of our routine. These are reminders that I am important, that my care is equally important. So let's now look at what is self-care. Self-care is about taking care of ourselves physically and emotionally so that we feel supported and capable to help others. And it goes hand in hand with a concept called mindfulness. Research shows that the average amount of time spent mind wandering is equal to 47%. So what does that say to us? That we waste 47% of our time thinking of things that are not that important. Many call it a state of mind, this mindfulness. What is it all about? Basically, it's about being aware, conscious of our thoughts, our emotions, our body, our actions in that present moment. So part of self-care is about having self-awareness. So what does mindfulness have to do with self-care, you may ask? Practicing mindfulness helps us to become more aware of all levels of our functioning. It helps us to relax our brain, to feel calm, to manage our emotions better, to listen more attentively. Research again shows that up to 70% of our leaders report being unable to be attentive in meetings. So if you are sitting at a meeting and you are not being attentive, what does that say? It helps us to cope better with situations. Again, research tells us that an average of only 2% of people make time to enhance their personal productivity. So if we are not making time for ourselves, how are we going to be supportive to others? And how will we give back to others in various ways? We can practice mindfulness. Once again, we will repeat, mindfulness is about being self-aware. I'm going to share with you a few concepts related to mindfulness. One can offer mindful breathing or meditation. One can do mindful walking. Wherever you are, make a conscious effort of looking around at your environment. Listen to the birds, the trees, the leaves under your feet. Be very conscious of all the sounds around you, the smells. Mindful eating. These days, dietitians are now using mindful techniques to teach patients to be conscious of their food intake and quantities. By being more conscious of what they eat and what they take in, they are able to control their eating habits better. Silent sitting is a wonderful way of relaxing your mind and listening to yourself and to your surroundings. Active or empathic listening means making sure that you are fully listening to the next person, not listening half-heartedly to them. Mindful talking. Be very conscious of your tongue and what you say, because every word that comes out of your mouth talks to what you are thinking. Mindful art is a beautiful technique allowing you to use your creative abilities to allow your mind to relax and open up to new thinking. Body scanning, which is a short process of allowing a lot of attention to be focused on every little part of your body, noticing it, giving it time and attention, and monitoring its changes. Journaling, we teach our youth and our teenagers to do this, and our children. A simple technique of capturing your thinking and your feelings on paper. And the stop process. Stop and take stock of inner emotions and your state of mind. The T stands for take a deep breath or two. The O means open and observe your external state of mind. And P, proceed with new possibilities, rethinking your responses. So once again, stop stands for taking time to stop and take stock of wherever you are. Taking a deep breath or two, opening and observing your external state of mind, and proceeding to new possibilities. Kindness and compassion to others, and more importantly to yourself, especially ourselves. Often when we experience stressful situations, we blame ourselves and have made many negative emotions attached to it. We then associate it with anger, hatred, and regret because we have portrayed all this on ourselves. So we're reminding ourselves to be gentle on ourselves, not to let ourselves be harsh on mostly ourselves. Okay, there's some acknowledgements here. I would like to share this acknowledgement of a pilot project that we are busy working with. The acknowledgement is particularly to the Children's Institute, and also the Perinatal Mental Health Project and the Public Mental Health. And we thank them for allowing us this beautiful document that we've been piloting for a few weeks. Particularly what it is about is the training and support and practice and case sharing for practitioners working in the child protection field. So for those in the child protection sector, it's a beautiful resource for service providers. And it teaches us different techniques. It teaches us to focus on knowledge. It teaches us to focus on skills. But an important component to it is teaching us to make time for self-care and practice self-care in order to ensure that we are better humans and better persons so that we can give of ourselves better to the communities and the children that we work with. So these are some of the references that I would share with you where you can go and find more information on mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness. So are we ready? We're going to do a little bit of practice on mindfulness, which is your being present completely for yourself, right? And I'm going to take you through a few mindful exercises, which is wood chopping, the humming bee breath, and the alternate nostril breath. Okay, so as we go through this, I'm going to ask for you to get off your seat, to stand up, and as I take you through these techniques, I would like for you to practice them as well. So as I go through the experience and I share with you, I would like for you to follow it and then try practicing it as well. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to just visually be present in front of you so that I can share these techniques with you. And these are part of simple mindful exercises that you can practice with yourself, your family, your friends, your colleagues, and the recipients that you service. Okay, so I'm going to stand up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to stand now and just show you a little bit of the techniques. The first one was called the wood chopping movement, and I'm just going to share with you what this is all about. It's a particular exercise that you can use for stiffness in your shoulders. It helps to relieve tension, anger, frustration as well. And it's a very simple process. You stand with your feet wide apart. I'm not going to be able to show you my feet, but you understand what I'm saying. You're going to stand with your feet apart. You're going to pick up your hands. You're going to interlock your fingers in front of your body. You're going to breathe in and stretch your arms up above your head as if you are lifting up an axe. Okay. As you do this, you're going to be taking in your breath. When your hands are up there, you are going to breathe out fully through your mouth. And as you put your fingers out, when you are coming forward, you are making the shape of an axe, sort of a wood chopping. That's why it's called wood chopping movement. And as you bring your hands down, you're going to make the sound of hi. Okay, so you can see me bending down with my hands going down, and you will bend your knees as you go down. We don't want you injuring your back. So please make sure you put your hands up high as you go down with your breath out. So I would like you to practice it a few times. Your hands move out into your interlock. You then move up. Your legs are spread out, knees bent, high. Okay, you can say it louder. You can say it with more force. It's a beautiful technique to get rid of emotions that are pent up. So if you are working with a recipient and you find that a recipient is having a hard time and is extremely emotional, or you have two recipients in a family that are fighting and arguing and you need to relieve that tension immediately, there's a beautiful opportunity to use something to distract your attention and to help you focus a little more on the anger and to relieve yourself of that anger. So as you're coming down, you take your breath, be aware of your chest, your shoulders as you do it. You can repeat this a couple of times with your clients and with your recipients, okay? So when we are managing children, for example, who have a lot of pent-up anger and frustration, you would imagine a tree stump in front of you, and you can picture whatever's upsetting you on that tree stump. It could be the person that you're angry with, the situation you're angry with, whatever is going on. So when you take that axe and you squash down on it, you are releasing all that pent-up emotions and letting go of it. So this is a lovely technique you can try practicing on your own and then use it for your recipients. I'm going to take you through the next one, which is called the humming bee breath. Okay, and this exercise helps to relax and focus the mind and helps to calm the body. Okay, so you will sit with your back straight and your eyes closed. Okay, you will spend a few moments noticing your breath as it moves in and out. So as you take a deep breath in, out, in, out, deeper breaths you will take, you will start to focus on yourself and give your attention to yourself. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to listen first so you see what I am doing before you try to practice it. Okay, so you will use your index fingers and push the ear flaps. As you can see, your index fingers, you will use it to push your ear flaps down onto your ears. When it is blocking your ears, it is closing off your ears so that you cannot hear very clearly, right? So you cannot hear your outside sounds. You will keep your ears closed throughout this exercise, right? Obviously, don't start doing it now. Just watch what I'm doing and then you can practice. Okay, so we're going to do 5 breath counts and then You don't worry if others are breathing around you or what they are doing. You focus on yourself. You do your 5 breaths in and out, okay? So as you would breathe in, your hands are going to stay on your ears, closed. You would breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your nose, making a deep humming sound, okay? And listen to the humming sound inside your head. So you go, breath out. Breathe in, breath out. Deep breath in, breath out. So your children will be listening to your humming sound inside their heads. You can continue with that breathing till you calm down the situation or you calm the child down. Okay, so when you are done, you can rest a bit, allow yourself to relax, close your eyes again, take a few deep breaths in, out, concentrating on your breath, listening to your breath as you are doing it. So again, an example, like I shared with you, we had in KZN experienced a crazy bout of a week of rioting and violence. And during that time, there was so much of noise and violence around us. We were almost like sitting ducks, especially at PCH in our facility. Our children were basically sitting ducks in a facility, staff not accessing in and out, sitting and waiting and wondering what is happening outside in the world. We could hear gunshots, you could hear ranting and raving, you could hear vehicles revving and noises, all kinds of noises. You could hear people screaming out with war cries because we are just above the Liberty Mall, and there was a lot of commotion happening at the Liberty Mall as well. So all that type of violence and negativity and loud experience of noise and things that could scare you as an adult, leave alone scaring your children. We went through all of that. And one of the simple techniques that the staff use in the cottage was to block off some of the sounds when they are sitting together and they are hearing all this noise and scuttle and buffle and you're uncertain of what that noise is. You're able to sit down quietly, help them concentrate and make it a little game for them where they're focusing on something different and it's distracting them and taking them away from the current experience that might create some sort of stress or anxiety in them. I'm going to take you through one last experience, which is called the alternate nostril breath. This helps to increase your concentration, helps to bring some sense of balance within you as well and calm you down. Okay, so you sit with your back straight up and you watch your breath again as it moves in and out. And as you are taking your deep breaths in and out, you get more focused before you start with your activity. So again, I'm going to ask you just to watch what I'm doing before you try to practice this on your own. Okay, so using your right hand, you place your thumb on one side of your nose. Okay, your next 2 fingers go on your forehead. And the last 2 fingers or 1 finger can go towards your left-hand side of your nostril. Right. So with your hand in position, you are able to control your breath and the flow of the air in and out of your nose by blocking either side, as you can see, or with your fingers. So when your hands are put like this, we're going to start practicing. Okay. So in this exercise, you're going to be alternating blocking your right nostril and then your left nostril in order to take in deep breaths. Okay, just try to concentrate and breathe naturally in and out. Don't let yourself get all strained as you are practicing these. And you can practice these for 5 times. 5 times in and out. You can alternate your nostrils and it helps to calm any difficult situation. Okay, so again, your fingers here, your hands here. Deep breath in through the right, hold that breath, concentrate on it. Give yourself a chance to focus on it. You then close, let go on the left, breathe out. Take a deep breath from the left in. Hold it on top. Think of it at your forehead. Let go of your right nostril. Take a deep breath out. Breathe in through your right. Hold it. Concentrate. Let go on your left. So you can keep alternating some kind of technique like this, where you practice through your right and your left, and you alternate each time. You could even do 5 on the right, practice first, and then alternate and do 5 on the left. So as you do this, you are giving yourself a chance to redirect your body, to refocus your attention, your thinking, your mind, so that you can give attention to positive things. So allow yourself the space, and it gives you a chance to inhale positive thoughts, positive emotions, exhale negative thoughts and negative emotions. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. And I trust that you have gained some kind of ideas on what we went through, putting it into context that it was an external circumstance that none of us had control over. And that while we went through this experience, we each had to find a way to survive. And as we work through different ways of surviving, we find new and better ways of coping. And some of the techniques I'm sharing with you are practiced today in business. Mindfulness is a new concept over recent years that they are using in business sector to enhance the work that they do in a workspace by understanding and practicing mindfulness. So mindfulness can be used for yourself personally, for your family members, but at the same time expanded into your workspace and used to support your work with your colleagues and the clients that you serve. So I pray that you enjoyed this session. We will be sharing these slides, obviously, and maybe some more ideas we will be sharing in terms of the manual. We will also at some point be sharing the manual with you, the Nyamakela for Care manual with you. So you will be able to see all those techniques that are in this book as a beautiful resource that supports the work that we do and encourages each of us to, as staff, as a team, make time for ourselves, make time to make sure we are giving ourselves self-care. Our staff are giving themselves that opportunity to develop themselves, to give themselves time to regroup, rethink, revitalize yourself so that you can move on in everything that you're doing. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining me. And I pray that you will continue to practice some of these beautiful techniques of mindfulness that will help you personally and professionally. Thank you.